Manchester United versus Partizan Europa League preview / Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction. He's just given his press conference for the Partizan game, and there's some very interesting tidbits. I'm glad I waited to do my preview because Ole has given us some very interesting things. He also did something I just can't believe he said it. I can't believe he said it. It's right up there with Moyes saying that Liverpool are favourites at Old Trafford. Ole said the horrible words. He said, "We go again." I know, I can't believe it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer muttered the words in his press conference, "We go again." What clown said "we go again"? It was the huddle, it was Slippy G, it was when they were going for the title. "We go again." The worst words anybody can say in football when they're trying to do something successful. "We go again." But seriously, I am having a bit of a joke there. But what I was going to say is that with regards to Manchester United at the moment, I do actually seriously want to just say this at the start and get it out of the way, because I don't want to pretend that the situation's great. I think it's a very positive interview from Ole, and Ashley Young was with him, and some of the stuff I'm going to say, some of you will like, some of you will think is ridiculous. But what club do you think in the Premier League would not be seriously considering sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the moment? You look at how quickly Watford reacted. You look at teams like Brighton sacking Chris Hughton when he kept them up. We've got a manager who's in the Premier League over the last 54 points has taken 21 from 54 points since the PSG game. He's won 5, he's lost 7, and he's drawn 6. It's an awful record with awful football, and still, somebody said to me today, quite well connected in the journalist world, the word from Manchester United is there's no intention of sacking him. All these links to the RB Leipzig manager, the Ajax manager, Allegri, it's all quite amusing to Manchester United Football Club because they have got no intention of sacking him. And I said back, but let's just take that away for a minute. Like, what other club in this situation would not be considering sacking their manager? There's not even a guilt trip there. It doesn't matter how much we love Ole, and we do. Any club in the Premier League, I think, would be considering sacking him. And the fact that our club is just going, no, we are going blindly forward on whatever we think is going to be this successful path, that is what Manchester United are doing. And look, that's not being Ole out. I'm just saying, whether this works or not, it still really irritates me that this football club is run so badly that they are like, no, we're not considering him sacking at all. We totally agree with what's going on and we're absolutely happy with it. That's the message Manchester United are putting out. And all we want as fans is just some strong leadership. That doesn't mean sacking him. It just means accepting the situation is bad. Everybody, even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer today, when he was talking about, what do you think about the season so far? And he said, well, there's never a shortcut. It's hard work, team spirit, and the training's been good. We deserve more results than what we've had. And it's like, excuses. It's like, I don't really understand why only the fans are owning this problem. Only the fans are owning the fact that this is unacceptable, what's going on. And Druv says that Mark's Ole out. I'm not Ole out. What I'm saying is, though, why are the clubs so resolutely saying it's fine, we're going to stick with him, when I think, actually, well over 70% of the Premier League clubs, I think he would have been sacked by... Man City would have sacked him already, Liverpool would have sacked him, Chelsea would have sacked him, Arsenal would have sacked him. I think even teams like Spurs would have sacked him. But we are sat there going, no, it's absolutely fine. Ashley Young was sat next to him. I've got to bring this in. Ashley Young came out with a couple of absolute brilliantly comments. He said, we've got a great squad. And I think it was Simon Stone who pulled him up on it and said, but, look at the league table. Do you still think you've got a great squad? And he said, well, everyone, this is Ashley Young talking. Everyone's got their right to their opinion. I know what I see in training every day. I think it's a great squad. And it's like, Ashley, hello? Are you as stupid a footballer as you are a person then? Because one of the biggest cliches in football is it doesn't matter what you're doing on the training pitch. It matters what you do on the real pitch. So talking about us having a great squad, I know he's looking after his mates, but we haven't got a great squad. We've got an awful squad. And I'm not saying he has to answer it in that way, because people would quite rightly say, well, how would you answer it if you're Ashley Young, captain of the club, and you're asked about the squad? There are better ways of answering that question. He doesn't need to mention the word great squad. He said, look, he could have said, we believe in ourselves. We all know that we're accountable at the moment and we're not doing what we should be doing and we've just got to work harder. That's what he should have said. Zayn Miasi says, Mark, if Ole cared, he would quit. He knows he can't improve the situation, but he quits. He won't get a payout. It's always money. There is no loyalty. Well, I disagree with that, Zayn, actually, because I wouldn't quit as Manchester United manager if I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I would defend him on that one. You've got to believe that As a human being, it just depends on what your personal traits are. But if I was managing Manchester United and I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and I was in that situation, I wouldn't quit either. Because I would just, even if I was having self-doubts, I wouldn't quit. I'd just keep going to the end, because you've got to try and be I don't walk away from a problem. And I don't think Ole walks away from a problem. So, someone's going to have to take him away from it. It's not Ole's decision to walk away, and I don't have a problem with him on that. He did speak about a few injuries. I mean, look, I spoke about this last night with the injuries. We're going to talk about the predicted 11 tomorrow, but I think Ashley Young will definitely start because he was in the press conference, and the person in the press conference normally starts, which will mean a rest for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which is much, much needed. Lindelof is injured. He will not play. I don't know whether he's back for Brighton, but the big thing for me is that nobody's coming back from injury. Like, Luke Shaw's still injured. Twansibi is still injured. Dalot is still injured. Matic is still injured. At what point does this become front page news for Manchester United? I touched on it a little bit last night about the fitness problems. There is a huge fitness problem at Manchester United, and it is leaking out that the players are not happy with the training system at Manchester United. They're not as fit as they should be, and the people involved in the fitness and conditioning at Manchester United are not good enough. And I've got to agree. I mean, like, Luke Shaw's been out since bloody August. We're nearly into December now when he comes back. Dalot came back for a game, was out at the start of the season, and he's out again. Twansibi had a little knock and he's been out for nearly a month. Matic, we didn't even know was injured, and he's been out for ages. What's going on with Manchester United Football Club? We have got a load of injuries again, and it's about the 6th or 7th year in a row we've had this. From September to Christmas, we always pick up loads of injuries. This is not bad luck. This is not coincidence. This is absolutely piss poor planning again in another poor run department at United. You can talk about the players, you can talk about the coaching, you can talk about the board, you can talk about recruitment, but we should always start to include the fitness and conditioning department at Manchester United, because it's been like this for, like I say, 6 or 7 years. I remember being like it with Sir Alex Ferguson. It is a joke, and it's really undermining Manchester United. I want to talk to you about transfers. We're doing a show tonight about transfer targets, as well as anything else that might be topical on the 8 o'clock show. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was asked a direct question about the transfer window in January, and the answer will not please people. I think it will irritate people, because he said the priority is to get the people back fit who are injured. Which straight I thought, oh no, oh dear, that does not sound good. You're asked a question about transfers and you're talking about getting back people who aren't fit. Because basically what he's trying to do there is say, look at the players I'm missing. Excuses. Look at the results and the players that are missing. Excuses. We don't need to spend money because look at the players we're missing. Look at the quality there is to come back. Oh, we've got Eric Bailly to come back. We've got Luke Shaw to come back. We've got Matic to come back. We've got Pogba to come back. We haven't really got that much quality to come back. We've got Paul Pogba to come back. That's what it is. He said maybe there'll be no signings in January. Maybe there'll be one. Maybe there'll be two. But the reality is it's hard to do business in January, and the summer is the time when you do your business. Oh, that summer we just wasted then. I've told everybody this. I said this. Everyone was getting really excited about the January transfer window. I've been saying for weeks, we should have done it in the summer. It's very hard to do business in January. And what's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer come out and done now? After about, they've timed it to perfection as well, haven't they? They've let us have 2 months of United have got money to spend in January. Ooh, we're going to do this in January. This club and the way it runs itself, you can read it like a book. And I'm not talking Andy McNabb. I'm talking bloody Spot the Dog. It's basic toddler reading how United do it. The transfer window ends. We don't bring the players we're meant to bring in. For the next 2 months, we have loads and loads of stories about what we're going to do in the next transfer window. And as that transfer window gets a little bit closer, quick, stop the rumours, tell them the truth. We're not going to do anything. I can see Manchester United signing Mandzukic and Rakitic in the summer, because Grandad Mata needs a bit of company in the bingo hall. I would rather sign nobody than Mandzukic and Rakitic, because there's no future in old OAPs coming into the Premier League when they've never played here and they're both well over 30. It's not what we need to do. But it is a little bit worrying, isn't it? Because Ole is now saying what anybody with a brain knows. I'm not criticising Ole for this. It's very hard to do business in January. It's the summer where you need to do the business. Don't expect anything major in January. And I think a lot of fans have been pinning their hope, we'll do some business in January. And I don't think we will. I don't think we will do a lot of business in January. The important thing is the summer is where you do it, and we didn't do it. So That's simply that, isn't it? I'm just going to quickly do this because there's a lot of other points I need to touch on in the press conference, and I am doing FIFA at 2:30. I've put the link in the video description, my FIFA career mode for Manchester United. I actually am in January and have just bought 2 players. I'm not going to tell you who because I haven't done the stream yet, but the link's in the video description if you want to join me there at live at 2:30 or watch it afterwards. But I think this is how I would line up against Manchester United. Ollie spoke a little bit about the youth and the positivity of the Europa League. He said that Mason Greenwood, Jimmy Garner, Brandon Williams have done well in it. And it's also been an opportunity to give people who aren't playing game time, because you can't play the same 13 players every game. And we've had 3 clean sheets. I wish he'd told himself that last week, that you can't play the same players every game, because I think we lost to Bournemouth because he played Fred and McTominay 3 times in 6 days. But, you know, I think he will mix it up in the Europa League. I think he's got to go with this team on the left, on the left, depends on what it is for you. Romero will play in goal, I think. I think Jones and Rojo, as much as I don't rate either of them, have to play, because you've got Lindelof's injured, Twansebi's injured, and Maguire definitely needs a rest in those circumstances. Young should play at right back because Wan-Bissaka needs a rest, and we've got no other right back. I know Ethan Laird did train, but I doubt he would start. Brandon Williams needs to start, definitely at left back. The midfield, Jimmy Garner should start in this game. It's at home. He's got the protection there. It's a good opportunity. I'm excited about that. And he's got to play somebody next to Garner. He can't play Matic. Fred or McTominay need a rest. I'd play McTominay, to be honest with you. Mata's got to play because he's got to play. I wouldn't play Mata. I'd like to see Gomez starting, but I think Mata's got to play because he hasn't played in ages and he's on 140 grand a week. And then I would play Greenwood, Martial and Chong. What he might do is give Martial a rest and put Lingard on the right. But I would go with that. And a lot of people will say, well, why are you playing Chong? Chong played fantastically well the other night in the, I think it was in the 23 side. And he deserves another chance. And I think the security blanket of Old Trafford would be good. So he's got to play some youth tomorrow. Look, Partizan Belgrade, we know what they're all about. I thought in the first half in Belgrade, they were the worst team we've played this season. And in the second half, we were the worst we've played all season. And they got back into it. They're a poor team. We'll win this game. I don't know whether we'll entertain, but we will win this game because Partizan Belgrade are a bad side. So in that circumstance, he's got to play some of the youth to give us something exciting. Because if we beat Partizan Belgrade with Lingard and Rashford and Martial and everyone, it's like, well, what does that do? Just give us some false confidence in players that will probably go and bottle it against Brighton. Give us something new against Partizan. We're going to win the game, so give us something new. So yeah, that's how I would line up against them. JT Music, do you really think that team's going to happen? I don't. It probably won't happen. It's sort of a mixture of how I think that logically we should set it up, because it gives a lot of people a rest for what is a massive game against Brighton on Sunday. Let's not underestimate that game against Brighton on Sunday. So you need to give people like Rashford and Dan James a week off. They need to be fresh. I think a massive part of why we lost that Bournemouth game is because so many players were not fresh. Keep them fresh for Brighton. Vidic and Evra were signed in January. Talent is always available. Bruno Fernandes is begging to be rescued from his situation in Sporting, says Ibrahima John. I don't think we're going to sign Bruno Fernandes. I'd love us to, but I don't think we are. Franco Roja is the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Thank you for that. Please do smash a like on the video if you're watching live. We don't normally do them at this time, but Ollie did his press conference at 1:30. So let's cover some of the other things he said. Who will win, KSI or Logan Paul, says Amar Hassan. God, you can't move for that fight, can you? I won't watch it. I just hope KSI wins it because he's British. And, you know, that's the closest association I've got to either of the two. Mark, how aware do you think the club is of the United Stand compared to AFTV and Arsenal, who collaborate on a regular basis, says Killian? Well, you're wrong there. I was in a meeting with Robbie last week and I asked him that question directly. What do Arsenal think of Arsenal Fan TV? And they don't have a relationship with them at all. They don't closely collaborate at all. Some of their players interact with them on Instagram and stuff like that, but there's no close relationship between Arsenal and Arsenal Fan TV. And there's no close relationship between the United Stand and Manchester United. And that's the way it should be. You know, the whole point of when I was growing up and you had fanzines is that fanzines could say what they bloody well liked. And they were, you know, you look at something like Red Issue, which probably went a little bit too close to the bone. It was quite vile, some of the stuff they would say when saying things that were going wrong with the club. The United Stand and AFTV, in my mind, are just developments of fanzines. They're not meant to have close relationship with the players and the clubs. They're meant to be fan opinion. If you want close relationships with Manchester United, go and watch MUTV, who will just constantly spurt out positivity and promote Manchester United in a positive light, despite being absolutely awful. The United stand's not there to do that. But they are very aware of us because we've had conversations with them, but there's not a relationship there. You don't need to worry about us being on the payroll or anything like that. We're not likely to get an interview with Ed Woodward because we're not likely to say anything positive about Ed Woodward, are we? So that's how it works. Let's have a look at some of Ollie's quotes then. You said that against Bournemouth, we were. It was disappointing. We had a little bit of a run before that, obviously beating Norwich, Partizan, and Chelsea. But the quick turnaround, we started well, and we go again. Quick turnaround was down to him. He could have rested players between Chelsea and Bournemouth, so I don't know what that was all about. We've done that one. Is Europa League the best route to the Champions League? Ollie was asked about this, and he said it's one route. It's only November in the Premier League, so nothing's been resolved there. We'll challenge to get a top 4 spot. So Ollie's answering that question correctly. It is only November. You can't discount the Premier League top 4 in November, but I think we all know the Europa League is our best route. It's not the one route, it is the best route for us to get into the Champions League. I already would say we are not getting anywhere near top 4 unless he does what he did last season when he came in and we go on a ridiculously brilliant 3 months of winning games. But I think even if we do that, look at the teams that are in the top 4 this year. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in December last year, and we have no right to get in a top 4 race. But because teams like Arsenal and Chelsea and Spurs dropped a lot of points between January and March, we got back in a top 4 race. Look at the top 4 this season. Well, obviously Liverpool and Man City are gone. No one's getting near them. Chelsea and Leicester are ridiculously consistent and already have a 10-point gap on us. I don't think Leicester are going to suddenly drop consistency when they're not even in Europe and they're playing 1 game a week. I don't think Chelsea are going to drop consistency because they might be able to buy in January, but even if they don't, they've actually got 2 players in every position. So I don't think United can get top 4. I think Europa League is our best shot. And I think if we want to get the Europa League, we should buy a couple of decent players in January that can play in February. Because we're through in the Europa League. We've got through that group. I think we've been a bit fortunate in the group. I think, you look at AZ Alkmaar, we should have lost that one. You look at Astana at home, we only won 1-0. And you look at Partizan Belgrade away, we didn't deserve to win that either. So we've got ourselves through the group with a bit of luck. We need to really look at this Europa League. But obviously it looks like Inter are going to drop down. Ajax or Valencia or Chelsea are going to drop down as well. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. What else did he talk about? He spoke about the youth of his course. Ashley Young was asked how he was finding this season. He said it's tough. We deserve more. We play better on the front foot, and an early goal will help us. But we've got some winnable games, and we want to go on a run. I think these winnable games things they need to shut up about. I mean, United and a set of winnable games, and I think not just Ashley Young, me and you as well. We've been doing this for years. Oh, we've got a really good run of winnable games. I remember saying it under Van Gaal. I definitely remember saying it under Mourinho, and we've already done it a couple of times with Ollie. This runnable games thing is a myth. The runnable games thing is a legacy to Sir Alex Ferguson days, where we'd look at a run of fixtures and go, oh, we should win most of those. Over the last 6 years, United have not been able to do that. We've not really done it. We did it with Ollie when he first came in, and we did it with Mourinho, I think, a couple of times. But consistently, we are not that United team of Sir Alex anymore, where you can look at 5 fixtures in the league and go, yeah, we're going to win 5 of those. We're not that team. So for Ashley Young to say we've got a set of winnable games because we've got Brighton, Sheffield United and Villa. Well, of course, Manchester United should be beating those teams, but it's massively disrespectful. Villa nearly got a point out of Liverpool at the weekend. Sheffield United and Brighton are above us. They're not winnable games. They're only winnable games because the name Manchester United should beat the name Brighton and Sheffield United. But the players Manchester United have got compared to Brighton and Sheffield United, it's not a winnable game. We might win it, but it's not a winnable run of games, and we need to accept that. The Cardiff losses, the West Ham, the Newcastles, the Palace this year, the Huddersfield, the Newcastles in other years. There's no such thing as a run of winnable games for Manchester United, and I don't think we deserve more from this season. I don't think we deserve any more. We've had a lot of penalties. That Chelsea 4-0 was a total and utter farce, really. We didn't deserve to win that 4-0. We weren't the better team. We've had the run of the... I think we are where we deserve to be. I think we're a mid-table team. That's where we are. And the club seem to be happy with that. Like I say, they're not putting any pressure on Ollie. They're not saying that there's any chance of him being sacked. So, you know, we're a mid-table club, everybody. This is what Woodward and his lot want us to be. Of course, they don't want us to be, but this is what they're imposing on us. They're dreaming that we're going to get any better than this. We're a mid-table club until they massively invest in this team and remove some of the crap that we've already got. This is a mid-table club. That's where we are. You know, I don't like saying it, but I think we know that. This one from Ashley Young, I've kept it till the end. Oh my God. He said, he was asked the question, Ashley Young, what he thought, how he felt about having Sir Alex Ferguson, I nearly said it, what it's been like having Ollie in. And he said, I've said it a few times, when he walked in, it was like having the boss back. He's got that same winning mentality. And when he's talking about the boss, he's talking about Sir Alex Ferguson. So Ashley Young said, it's fantastic having Ollie here. From the day he walked in, it's been like having the boss back, Sir Alex Ferguson. I think there's a level of delusionment in the Manchester United. I don't know what's in the water. I think they think they're top of the league and winning every week because there's no pressure on the players or the manager. Ollie is like having Sir Alex back. We're a great squad on the training ground. I don't think anybody really understands the severity of the situation at United. We're a mid-table club, lads. We're a mid-table club. It's not, you know, we're 11 games in. We've been beaten by West Ham and Newcastle and Bournemouth. We're a mid-table club. And they're talking like everything's great. Yeah, Ollie's like Sir Alex Ferguson. We've got a great squad. We've been unlucky. I just don't know what they're doing. I don't know why this stuff's coming out their mouth. I mean, maybe at some point everything is brilliant. This is going to go bang. We're going to beat we're going to beat City in the derby 4-0 and never lose again. I hope that is going to happen. But they're just mad. Whatever they're on about, I just don't get it. Alpha Music says, Mark, how can you say we're through the group stage in Europa League when there's 3 games left and we only have 7 points? Oh, come on. Yeah, we've got 2 games at home though, haven't we? We've got AZ Alkmaar and we've got Partizan tomorrow. We'll win tomorrow and that's it. We're through. And we will win tomorrow. I've got no doubt about that. And I know people will say, oh, you've said this before. Do you know how major it would be to not beat Partizan Belgrade at Old Trafford? It would be like... You know, Partizan Belgrade aren't even as good as Rochdale. They're awful. They're absolutely awful. He did speak about Martial. Well, he was asked about Martial. Very interesting, because this verifies what I've been saying about Martial this season. Martial's hold-up play and work off the ball this season has been immense. And only if you play football or tactically analyse football will you know this. And we've been talking about it on the United Stand a lot this season. And this week there's been people getting on at Martial and it's annoyed me a little bit because Martial scoring goals is what we want to see, but he's not getting any service, so that's not his fault. But what he's doing off the ball, clearly people aren't seeing what Martial's doing off the ball, because this week we've had people saying, oh, Martial's crap again. His work rate off the ball is amazing. His hold-up play is amazing. He's done really well in the small amount of games he's played for us this season. And Ollie said that. And Ollie knows, this is one thing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows like the back of his hand better than anybody. He's a striker and he knows this. And he said, Martial's the one player we've got who can hold the ball up. And that obviously helps us as a team. And we've seen that. We've seen that in the games he's been back. So it was nice to get that public acknowledgement of Martial. I mean, one thing he did say that was a little bit odd, he said that, and we've missed Martial around the training ground because when he's happy, everybody's happy. And then he went, when he's not happy, and then he cut himself off and came back to that. But he said this season he's been happy. So I don't know whether that was, I don't know whether many people picked up on that, but I don't know whether that was a little bit of a mistake by Ollie, and he had to come back away from that, because you don't want to be talking about when players are happy, they're great. When they're not happy, they're a problem, because Martial's had these things thrown against him unfairly, I think, in the past. The last thing we want to have, it's sort of, what I'm trying to say is it sort of fed the moody Martial mantra that we've had floating around Martial ever since he's been here. And I don't think we need that to be coming from our manager. So it was nice to see him come back and say he's been really happy this season. I will be live at 8 o'clock tonight. This is just the preview show, so please do smash a like on the video. And I'm going to be live in 5 minutes on Mark Goldbridge That's Football, playing a bit of FIFA. So it's my Manchester United career mode. which will probably not be that relaxing, but I'm looking forward to that. So I'll see you 5 minutes on there. And thanks everyone for tuning in. 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to be talking more about the January transfer window. Now that we've had those quotes from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there's a couple of other articles that I've been looking at today that I think are very interesting. But I think we'll have to merge it into January, into next summer, because it's very, very clear, isn't it? Give him time. We're back in 1989, says Train Hobo. I will leave you with this, though. Are the club right to be so adamantly saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe? I'm not saying they need to sack him. I think people think I'm trying to say that they should be sacking him. But I do think that this constant, we're fine, the future's fine, I think it breeds incompetence and laziness. I've said this before. If I was a player at Manchester United and I was looking at the league table and I'd be going, this is unacceptable, my job's, my career's on the line. But all they're getting from Ollie and Woodward and everything's fine, it'll be fine in the future. How does that motivate people to make things better when they're being told, this is fine, in the future it will get better? It's poor management, it's so bad. The message the club are sending out to the fans, and the fans are starting to become really sort of apathetic, as I've said before, but the message coming out of the club is, this is fine. Where we are at the moment is fine. In the future, it will get better. It's never fine. And it might get better in the future, but it is never fine for Manchester United to be where they are. And these idiots in charge of the club putting this message out that, everything's fine, it'll be good in the future. It's not fine. It's never fine for Manchester United to be a mid-table club. It's never fine. And that's my thought. Do you think Lard should be given a chance, Mark? By the way, really like the United Stand channel. You guys give me a smile even during this hard time for our club, says Davistiano S. I'd like to see Ethan Lard play tomorrow, but I think that because Ashley Young was seen with Ollie at the press conference, he will play. Which I found quite funny. Because, Ashley Young, I've given him a free ride. He's one of the biggest problems with Manchester United. He's awful, isn't he? Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'll be back at 8 o'clock. Join me on the FIFA stream if you want to. Links in the video description.